Hey everybody, it's Kemosabe here, trying to give you a little update video, starting out on the weekly chart here. And what we have of lower lows and lower highs. Right here could be our higher low close. So it may confirm it and continue up and make a higher high close. That would be great. Um, the base case that I have is this correction here is matching this correction here. So what I'm expecting to come out of here, given the time is so similar, is what came here, a breakout. So I want to zoom into the daily chart and kind of get an idea of what's going on. So in matching those legs, I'm going to add this as my box here and draw another box up here. It's kind of looking like this. And those two match. I mean, they look the same size. They're roughly the same amount of time. So what comes out of there is potentially very promising. What I'm doing is matching this with what's going on right here. So far it looks like it's doing the same thing in reverse. Now this popped that way and did a little ABC, popped up, little ABC, and what comes next is a breakout. Before it broke out though, you will notice that it spent a few days just dancing around there for a little bit. So I'd expect this to base out if it is going to mimic that same pattern before breaking out. So you want to look for a series of higher highs and higher lows in this vicinity before going all in and expecting more upside. The 1 hour chart and 4 hour chart is still in a downtrend, so we'll zoom into that and look at the setups there. But after a few days of basing out, if we end up having a higher low right here, we could definitely break out sometime, maybe by the weekend. And the target for that, we will get a trend-based fib extension, and I'll just measure this leg right here. And I will project it from the closing price, daily closing price, which was roughly there. And that would give us a price target of 81,000 to 91,000, kind of in that vicinity, just a straight up move. It should mimic the same thing that went on down here if those patterns are going to match. We'll see what we get if we do indeed bottom out right here. Zooming in locally here in the daily, we have our low close there. Then we have a high close. That's a higher low, higher high. This is the area to find a higher low. If you have a daily close candle below this one, then you could look to sell the retrace for potential ABC down here, grab this liquidity, but it all depends on what the market wants to do. But a bullish market would base out right here and then break back up and then take those highs. Back test right there, because your daily order block becomes a breaker block, and you'll be retesting these highs. That's an add right there. If you do end up making a series of higher highs and higher lows, that's where you would look for the next add. So on smaller time frames, you may find one right there, but if you don't, you can wait for it to break up, back test, and that's where you would find it. Then your stop loss goes down there, and just keep raising your stop loss as you go. For now, finding resistance there at the daily order block, but if price breaks above it, that would be a place to buy. The 1 hour chart has a series of lower lows and lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. So the next lower high should be right here based upon how much lower that one was. So that's a sell setup right there, matching this leg with this leg right there on closing basis. Looks good. So I'm going to measure that upper leg there project from the close there. That gives me a trade entry right around here. That looks fine. Invalidation for the sell is 60,200. Then I would not want to be selling it because you would have higher highs and higher lows kind of basing going on, and you're probably doing something else. But I usually don't take trades until, like, I wouldn't take a long trade here until this leg invalidates by going above 60,000, because that would be a change in behavior. It would be like a new wave in a new trend. It would be a change in direction. You also want a change in behavior here, where you have a series of lower lows and lower highs. If you make a higher high and higher low, that's a change in behavior, and you could expect something different. Until then, you expect the same behavior to continue. So that sell setup, if we were to measure out, well, if we were to just match that leg and measure this choppy downtrend and project it from there, let's see where we could potentially end up. Take the closing price down to there, project from current high on the 1 hour, gives us a target range of 56 to 55.9, 56.7 to 55.9 area. You can have wicks below it, but that's where the closes would be, and that's where I would have an interest zone if I wanted to take a long trade. That will get the rest of this liquidity, may even take out this wick barely if it decides to go down. If it wants to change behavior right here, then listen to what the market says, take it back up. But until it changes behavior, I'd expect more down. And if it is to go down, matching that leg with that leg, what comes before it is this. So I would expect the similar type of price action to get down to here before reversing or doing something different. Then, yeah, we can keep going down if it wants, or it breaks out upwards. Based on the timing and the pattern that I'm kind of looking at on the daily, I'm kind of expecting more up to come somewhere out of this range, but price has to tell me that first. But the daily does have higher highs and higher lows so far until the daily closes lower. This is the area to look for a higher low, but you have to wait for the change in behavior. So wait for a series of higher highs and higher lows on a 1 hour or a 15-minute to kind of give you an idea that this is changing. But until the lower time frames change, down is the direction, and we'll see how far it goes. We'll switch it back to the daily to go over the Ichimoku cloud idea that I was sharing with the lagging span, which is just price that is offset back 26 bars, and the breakouts tend to happen when this yellow line or the lagging span gets above price. So if it gets above price, those are generally better breakouts. You got some support here on this flat right there. Interesting. So this still has 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 days before it gets in above price. And it could get above price up here. And that would add strength and confidence, especially if the lagging span gets above the cloud. That's even better. So we'll see what price wants to do around here. If it bases out, it could have a chance to go up as soon as the lower time frames kind of turn around. But yeah, expecting a breakout eventually when this lagging span gets above price, which might take a few days. So let some accumulation happen in this area and see if it makes a series of higher highs and higher lows. If not, let it grab liquidity. Maybe it comes back up and that becomes your stop loss. Because if it takes all this liquidity right here and bounces up, that should be your stop loss, because if it breaks down below that, it's targeting that stop loss right there. And that means you're going to have a lower low and lower highs, lower lows in a series of a downtrend. So just continuation of a downtrend if that does happen. So we've kind of been thinking it's do or die time, and this is kind of an area of do or die. Either base out here, break out, grab liquidity back up, break out, or we go down to the downtrend. So I hope that was helpful. That's kind of what I'm looking at. Try to keep the video short. Let me know if you have any questions. Like, subscribe, help the channel grow. Just trying to help people learn how to trade. So do your worst, guys.